Welcome to the Sheff United Way. My name is Hal. Thanks to all of you that have commented on my air conditioning unit being in the background. I don't want that thing in the background, but where I currently am, it's 38 degrees. So this is an essential. This is a necessity. And just a little bit of personal news. I'm about to be working somewhere which is going to be even hotter for the next 3 months. This will be one of the last videos I do for a while from Cyprus. There'll be a different background with an even bigger air conditioning unit. Probably. Japhet Tanganga, that's who we're going to speak about. Japhet Tanganga is a 26-year-old defender, a physical and aggressive central defender, born in Hackney. He's exactly 6 foot. He was born to a Congolese family, but he's represented England right throughout the youth levels. We go from under 16 all the way up to under 21, but hasn't represented yet the England full international setup. Will that ever happen? Probably not. He started his football journey when he joined the Tottenham Hotspur Youth Academy at the age of 10, and he stayed there until 2024, but he would enjoy a loan spell and then not enjoy another loan spell. Now, the tough tackler was a very impressive youngster, which the Tottenham faithful felt could eventually get all the way through and succeed regularly in their first team. He did get to the first team at Tottenham, but I think whether he achieved as much as certainly he would have hoped as a younger age is a little bit debatable. But a very impressive burst of recovery pace was something that was noted in one of his early youth scouting reports that I found online. And he would spend time in Germany with Augsburg and then Millwall. Now, initially, Millwall, as we know, he's been there for a long time, but was on loan, and then he would join permanently, and that's where you get those 2 seasons worth of time with Millwall. The loan first, then the permanent deal. And he really solidified his reputation as a very capable defender who can play in multiple roles, centre-back and also right-back. But when I talk about centre-back, he didn't just play in a back four, but we'll get to that. He performed well, I think, every time that he's faced Sheffield United, and we've all seen that the right footer has the ability. He has the quality. He did very well in a back three for Millwall, playing on the right side of that back three, where he was able to disrupt opposing plays. He was also an attacking threat, so as well as showing off his defensive capabilities, I think we saw his attacking contributions. Millwall fans that I've spoken to, and they've been really helpful with this video, so thanks to all of them, said that he would get forward in that back three from wide areas. Sounds very much like Basham in his prime, but he would try the crossing, but I have heard that whilst he is good going forward, his crossing has been described by Millwall fans as inconsistent. He looked apparently better in a back four under Neil Harris. Now, in total, for Tottenham, when he came through that youth setup, he did actually make 50 appearances. I mentioned he went on loan to the Bundesliga club Augsburg. That was on a season-long loan. They even had an obligation to buy. They didn't like the look of him in training. He did not make a single appearance for Augsburg. He sat on the bench during the entire time that he was there, which was a huge waste of time for Tanganga, a waste of his development, and a waste for Augsburg as well, because it took up a loan spot. Millwall then on loan, which was much, much more successful, where he played 18 times and actually scored twice. So useful, as I say, going forward. Since joining Millwall then in a permanent capacity, which was for a free, but I have been told reliably that included higher wages, it's been 43 appearances and had another 2 goals, so 4 in total that he's got for Millwall. And Tanganga was offered a new contract by Millwall after signing an initial 2-year deal. At time of recording, hasn't signed that. He has a release clause of, I believe, around 1.2, 1.5. I've read different things, but that of a million. But that only applies to Premier League clubs. Now, Hellas Verona and Sassuolo, Serie A clubs, all have bid. Those bids were rejected by Millwall. So here we are, talking about Tanganga and coming to Sheffield United. As I've mentioned, he's always done well against us. I think a lot of blades rate Tanganga. Let's look at the positions he's played in his career. Centre-back, 159 times, scored 10 goals, 4 assists. He's played as a full-back 23 times. So it's all about being a centre-back for him, and I do believe that's where he would be utilised in a blade setup. Let's look at the stats by club, including his youth career. Millwall played 63 times, 4 goals. Tottenham, as I mentioned, he got 50 appearances for Spurs, did get 1 assist. Played in a 23 team, 46 times, 1 goal, 2 assists. And the Tottenham under-18s side, he played 21 times and got 3 goals. You know, the guy knows where the back of the net is. So in total, it's 191 appearances, 10 goals, 4 assists, 31 yellows and 4 reds. So the discipline side of things might need looking at. Why, you might be thinking, he's 26 years old, Hal. So few games. I mean, think like Peck is 20 and has already had like 50 appearances. So it's not that many for a 26-year-old, 191 appearances. Well, he's not always been first choice, as seen at Tottenham and Augsburg. And this is the worry, and I'm sorry to be that Debbie Downer, he's had a few injuries. So, unfortunately, a knee problem, which kept him out for 90 days in 2023. Before that, we'll go backwards. He had a pretty bad knock in 2022, which meant that he missed a couple of games. He was out for 147 days in the same year with a persistent knee problem. Had a shoulder injury in 2020, which kept him out for a couple of weeks. A thigh problem, which kept him out for nearly 60 days back in 2020. In August, stretching through to September, he had a hamstring strain in that 2020-21 season, which kept him out for about 40 days. And he missed a whole month with a back problem in 2020, which says to me, we hope these are all behind him because, as I say, I started there with 2023. Well, here we are 2 years on, and I'm not reporting injuries, and I want to keep it that way. Let's go through his strengths as a player. Physicality. I mentioned his pace, particularly that recovery pace, that significant raw pace, which allows him to make those recovery runs and keep up with attackers. He's got that aggressive defensive style. He's an active, aggressive defender. He's not afraid to get stuck in, put his body on the line. But consistency is something that Millwall fans have mentioned to me. But he does like disrupting play for the opponent, for those attackers coming at him with tackles, with very good interceptions. He's versatile. He's proven that, capable of playing full-back, as I've mentioned, but also centre-back. He's played right-back. He's even played left-back. So it shows his flexibility. He can carry the ball. We've saw when he was playing against us, when he was playing in the back three. We've also seen him playing in the back four. But down that right, delivering diagonal balls, showing confidence in transition, and changing defence to attack. So his attacking output, his crossing, his overall attacking support from wide positions have been said by Millwall fans to me to be inconsistent, something I've mentioned here already. So, in my opinion, and I'm sure that many others, a better centre-back than a right-back option. I think that is where he would be utilised at beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. So consistency repeatedly coming up as a factor. Millwall fans have told me that he can be inconsistent, brilliant on his day, and unbeatable at times, but has an error in him. If we look at his career trajectory, Tottenham Hotspur, where he was a youngster, Tanganga initially emerged as a promising prospect at Spurs, showing his potential in a variety of defensive roles, including a notable performance. If you get a chance to check it out, there are some clips of his very, very good performance at right back as a youngster against Manchester City. Now at Millwall, which he joined on loan initially, and then making that significant contribution to a team that was then trying to fight at the wrong end of the table before signing that permanent deal and really helping Millwall, who have kicked on. You know, they are a side now that's looking at the right end of the table. His form at Millwall has earned him interest from a number of top clubs. I've already mentioned some of the interest, some of the actual bids coming in from Italy. Maybe he just doesn't fancy a switch to live abroad. Overall, Tanganga is an athletic, he's an assertive defender, strong foundations, good at tackling. I've mentioned that recovery pace. While he may struggle with the attacking demands of a modern fullback role, his defensive strengths, his versatility have made him a valuable centre-back. He's a good asset, I believe, at championship level, and a player capable, possibly, if everything goes right for him, of playing at a higher level regularly, if he sorts out the errors, if he sorts out the inconsistencies. And you can check out Lions TV, our friends at Lions TV, on a recent video about him. You'll see it in the title. Here's a quote. He will get torn to shreds in the Premier League and wouldn't cut the mustard. So there we go. You know, not my words. So he's 26. He'll be 27 in March of 2026. He's in his prime. Let's go through his stats. He's played 3,553 minutes last season, so the FOTMOD stats, I think, are relevant. They're worth looking at. And when we come to the defensive stats, those are the really important ones, obviously, for a defender. When we get to those, we will compare him with the player many will say has come in to replace 𝗚𝗿𝗄𝗍𝗶𝗏. And the reason I do comparisons there is not to say, look, let's compare him with Anel the whole time. No. It's simply for a yardstick when reading out stats, so you get what the stats actually mean. Like if I'm just reading out a stat, you might not say that has any meaning. I don't understand. Well, if you put it in context next to someone whose game you can picture, hopefully it makes it a little easier to digest. And Anel played 3,133 minutes in the Championship last season, so it really is relevant to compare the two. But start with Tanganga. Got 2 goals last season from expected goals of 2.57, had 44 shots, 9 of those on target, so that needs working. Passing, he had 1,041 successful passes, a 78% pass accuracy. That's really good. His crossing and his long ball accuracy much further down. For example, his crossing accuracy only 33%, something we've mentioned before. Long ball accuracy 42.9. Successful dribbles 11, but his dribble success only at bang on 50%. He did have 65 touches in the opposition box, which again, I came back to the fact that he does like to get forward, sometimes down that right-hand side. Defending, well, he conceded a penalty, but so did Ănăl. They both conceded one last season. Tackles won, 37 for Tanganga, 43 for Ănăl, so fairly similar there. And the tackle win percentage, 66% won for Tanganga, much lower than a huge 81% for Ănăl. When Ănăl went in for a tackle, he more often than not won it, 8 times out of 10. Duels won, 233. Incredible number of duels won for Tanganga. Incredible, because Ănăl won 151. 62% of those duels won by Tanganga, 58% for Ănăl. So when it comes to the percentage of the duels they went in for, quite similar. Aerial duels won, 63% Tanganga. Ănăl won just 54%. Very similar with interceptions between the two. Tanganga had 36, Ănăl had 40, but 152 recoveries for Tanganga, 132 for Ănăl. Recoveries can be a misleading stat. Sometimes it's a teammate letting you down. You've got to go and recover the ball. Sometimes it's you. Tanganga picked up 7 yellows and no reds, whereas Ănăl had 11 yellows. And we might remember at commentary away, 1 red. There we go. That's kind of the Tanganga stuff. That's kind of as much as I can bring you on Tanganga. I now turn it over to you. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts. And as ever, thanks for supporting the channel. Up the blades.
𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗷𝗚. 𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗷𝗚. 𝗚𝗿𝗲𝗷𝗚.